Thank you. Yeah, I'm really nervous. Hey, thank you so much for this. It would be an extreme understatement for me to say that I am actually deeply touched and honored to be selected for this award today. Actually, a great deal of credit is deserved to the GSB administration under both Deans Joss and Saloner, and to Madhav Rajan, the accounting group chairman, for allowing me 6 years ago to come in here and develop a global financial reporting course with the vision that I had for what business leaders need to know about the financial reporting environment. In my opinion, one key indicator for whether you're really affiliated with a world-class educational institution is whether the leadership of that institution actually trusts the professors to develop challenging, innovative, effective, engaging, and interesting curriculum. And I can't say enough how grateful I am to be able to build the course throughout this process. And by having that flexibility, as I'll explain later, it allowed me to get a lot of feedback from the history of students to improve the course as we went along. As I relayed last night to a group of soon-to-be graduates, I took a lot from students, took a lot away from students over the years, particularly that I need to take more risks in life. In fact, last night I shared one risk, which was that I learned to do the man dance, which was one of the highlights of the GSB show. And if that video shows up on YouTube, Tony Luckett and I are going to have a very, very long conversation. But it was a lot of fun. Perhaps the biggest risk I took with regards to teaching was 2 years ago. I decided to teach directly from the financial statements, or the financial reporting standards, rather, as they're issued by the International Accounting Standards Board and the United States Financial Accounting Standards Board. You can imagine that that was met with a little bit of resistance. But it gained a little bit of momentum once I tried to communicate that if you really want to understand an environment that's regulatory in nature, it's better for you to read and derive your own interpretations from the actual source guidance than it is to take other people's interpretations of that. And so I got some buy-in from that, and I think this is particularly true when you're in an environment that is under continual revision, which is the way the financial reporting standards are. Many of my students, not all of them, but many of my students embrace the notion that they need to become activists to enhance the transparency and the faithfulness of the financial reporting system. We've seen recent economic events that indicate that there are still political forces that would like to have financial reporting obfuscate the underlying economic reality behind some firms. It's my hope that all the students here recognize that efficient capital allocation relies in part on a credible financial reporting system, and preserving that system seems worth fighting for. These points were further developed by a fantastic group of guest speakers who graciously donated their time to color their backgrounds, and some discussions about things such as why firms fraudulently manipulate financial reports, challenges facing the development of global financial reporting standards, challenges firms face in complying with these standards, and how and when to develop a financial reporting infrastructure at early stage ventures. These include Vince Kaminsky and Jim Schweiger, formerly from Enron, Sam Antar, the former CFO of Crazy Eddie and a convicted securities fraud felon, Mary Barth, former member of the International Accounting Standards Board, David Mosher from Biz Management Solutions, Kathy Lego, who's the audit committee chair for at least 2 prominently publicly traded high-tech firms in the local area, Greg Rogers, CPA and attorney from Advanced Environmental Dimensions, who is a true expert in environmental and contingent liability reporting, and Jim Neeson and Jeff Pickett from the Connor Group, who are experts in early-stage financial reporting infrastructure. I'm very grateful for the insight these speakers brought to the classroom. I have to thank my students, I can't say this enough, for entering the classroom with a sense of humor and an open mind. Collectively, we embraced Ashley Simpson, sporadic visits from a cheerleader Barbie doll, a screaming rubber chicken, and Tyson Knight coming in a turkey costume, courtesy of Jessica Gonzalez, who paid way, way, way too much at the white party auction. I have to thank several former students, and this is not an inclusive list, who played an incredible role in helping me refine the course over 6 years. This goes back to my initial point. I had flexibility to build the courses I wanted to, and I got continual deep feedback from prior students to refine the course as I went along. This would include, but not limited to, Marin Edock, Natalie Kim, Teresa Lee, Billy Butcher, Ross Davison, Andy Fishman, and Barry. More recently, Brad Hively and Thomas Rigo, who independently met with me on several occasions to provide input on the course content. Paul Hackwell, who spent some time actually going through major revisions that I did to the course reader. Jess Wolf, who provided me a lot of feedback throughout the course, and perhaps most profoundly, at about 8 hours of her 20-hour effort on the final, emailed me, quote, "She was trying to suppress the urge to decrease my heating bill by burning everything accounting related." So I took that feedback to heart. In an effort to save Pacific Gas and Electric, I shortened the exam this year. And I also did receive a lot of feedback from our dearly missed Rowan Desai, who met with me on several occasions to provide input on course content, topic coverage, and in-class dynamics. And I'm forever grateful for this group. And there were many, many others. I took feedback very, very much to heart, and I really appreciate that. I'd like to thank my wife, Connie, my daughters, Megan and Taylor, and my son, Ryan, for allowing time, sharing time this winter with me so that I could devote more energy into the classroom environment. And one of the challenges of this profession that I want to close with is that it's extremely difficult to tell whether and if you've actually had an impact on how students view the world. This is particularly true since our explicit contracts run typically 180 minutes per week times 10 weeks, and then it's over. And it actually wasn't until my father passed away 2 years ago at his funeral, which followed 35 years of service as an accounting professor and a 10-year battle with cancer and kidney disease, that my family actually learned what kind of an impact he had on his students. Many of his students narrated to us stories of his influence on them, and it was a shame that it took at that point for him to learn about that impact. I feel extremely fortunate for this reason to be here today, to actually to learn that I actually shaped in a small way how my students think about the world before they step back into it to achieve their goals. I'm actually very touched by this recognition. I thank you for taking the time today and step away from all your sell orders in the market today to share this moment with me. It truly is an honor, and I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.